Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Pregame Show podcast, and it's another new week of Cubs baseball. Last week, rounding out pretty good over the weekend, but then bad news to start the work week today. We'll get to that in a second. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Delmendo, and Ryan Herrera. Cody looks depressed already. Shout out to the new diehards, Alec, Cody, Rodney, Jeffrey, and Tucker. Love it. Thanks for signing up to be a diehard, and welcome to the party.
Shout
For the
out
rest
to
of you
Cody
that haven't signed up, you're missing out.
Yeah, special love to Cody.
Yeah, you're the Codys. That's what they say.
Yeah.
It was the year of Seya. He was off to a blistering start offensively. Had two more hits yesterday in the series finale against the Mariners. Cubs taking the series out in Seattle. But today the news comes across that Seya is on the 10-day IL with a right oblique strain. Now, I'm not sure the number. I believe it was 6 weeks he missed the beginning of the last season, right? With
something like that.
A right oblique strain. This one was from running the bases. I always assumed that an oblique strain was always from swinging the bat. But apparently, that's why I'm not a doctor. And Alexander Canario up to take his spot on the roster until Seya comes back. But this is obviously the fact that they are over 500, no Steele, no Tyone, no Merriweather, and now no Seya Suzuki for who knows how long. It's a 10-day IL, but if the last one was 6 weeks and he said he doesn't think it's as severe as the last one, he got to be looking at a month, right? You got to be looking at 4 weeks. I don't want to be pessimistic, but that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, no, and you mentioned whether it's swinging for run. I wonder if it happened on a swing and he didn't feel it until he got closer to first base. Just as far as that, it could have been still on the swing. He just didn't feel it. But I guess it's the other side of the oblique because I think it was left. Going into last season was the left oblique, and this time it's the right oblique. And I think a month, depending on the severity, depending on the timetable they put out. It's a month is probably fair to assume at this point, and whether it's we'll find out if it's less or more as you go forward. But a pretty obviously big hit to this team that's. They've had multiple hits to their pitching depth already, and we've seen obviously guys step up and help carry some of the load. And teams 9-6 when it didn't look that promising going into it, especially after Steele goes down. But now you're having a hit against your lineup and clearly one of the best bats in your lineup, in Seya, who's just had a great start to the year after the way he finished. August and September in 2023. It's not it's funny because you talk about how do you replace that? You don't replace what Seya has been doing. It's hard to replace a bat like that in your lineup, but you have to figure out ways to get production in those spots, whether it's, they brought up Canario and if Canario can produce, or Mike Tauchman might see some time over there. Guys are going to have to step up and produce in his absence, however long it lasts. And, it's tough, but if you want to be a playoff team, if you want to be a good team, these are the scenarios that come up and you have to figure out a way to manage them.
Yeah.
Cody's dead inside.
This sucks. This is
say your line. Say your line.
The good news is we're all going to die someday anyway. This is the second worst thing that could have happened this year. The first worst thing that could have happened was Steele getting hurt. Now the second worst thing has happened. Quite literally, because we all know that this team, if it was making the playoffs, it was going to be dictated on whether Seya can not only stay healthy, but be consistent. And he was being both of those until yesterday when he was running to first base. And I'm not blaming Seya, injuries happen. I'm just very frustrated. I'm very annoyed. I want to blame someone, but there's no one to blame. I guess I can blame the Cubs for not getting more offense outside of Cody Bellinger, which I think is fair to say.
And Michael Busch.
we're going to play the kids, I guess, that mentality. Like maybe that wasn't the smartest idea to go, even though at this point, like they've been pretty good. Michael Busch trade has worked out so far. Morel has taken a step forward offensively. I know he had a bad weekend, but whatever. It's one bad series. I could go down the line. Like the offense has been good this year. But again, like if you want this offense to be somewhat consistent all year, you're going to need Seya in the lineup. And he's not going to be in the lineup for the next month, And so now it's like, dude, like I know Tyone's supposed to come back this week. So at least you're getting him back. But man, like the offense, the lineup looks so good with Seya there in the 2-hole in the at-bats he was given. And I don't know who's going to step up. Like Bellinger obviously has to be better. We're riding the high of Michael Busch right now, but he's a rookie. I'm going to expect a slump at some point. Ian Happ's kind of slumping right now. Like
Morel's slumping right now, right after.
Yeah, right. Like the Seya Suzuki was the best player in the lineup. He's most consistent this year at this point. And now, like I kind of said this or tweeted this earlier, like the only good news out of this is we're going to see some consistent at bats for Canario, which is something that I think all of us have been wanting to see for the last, well, maybe not the last year. If he would have been healthy at the beginning of last year, we would have seen him a lot earlier. But like I think a lot of people wanted Canario to make the opening day roster in some ways. How he was going to make the roster, there would have had to be different decisions on what they made. But alas, we are here now. And now it's like, okay, like I hate to put a ton of pressure on the guy, but it is kind of like you got to perform, if you want to be here, if you want to earn a spot, kind of like the situation with Ben Brown and Javier Assad and Jordan Wicks. Man, you got to perform if you want to be here. If you want to, have a roster spot. And so, like, it's the major leagues, so that's why I say it. Like, it's all about performing at the end of the day. Like, you can be a good clubhouse guy, you can be a leader, you can do all these things, you can be great in the clubhouse with other guys, all this shit. But if you don't perform, then like you ain't gonna last. So I hate to say it that way. He's technically a rookie. He has like not even 50 at bats in his major league career, but he was part of the Chris Bryant trade, and so like we're gonna find out if he's a guy who can fill in and be a guy. I'm not gonna ask him to be Seya Suzuki, but I'm gonna ask him to be an average major leaguer, and I feel like at this point that's not asking for much. So I get why Tauchman's in right field tonight, since he probably just flew over here from wherever he was at with Iowa today, the travel and all that. Probably a good day to, let him get settled in and then maybe get him in the lineup tomorrow. Lefty going tomorrow for the Diamondbacks anyway, so I kind of like that matchup more so. But it overall just sucks in the grand scheme. Like this, we're lucky we're in the Central. And even though the
Central's pretty good this year.
Central so far is good. Central so far is good. But do we think it's going to be this good in September? I don't think a lot of people believe that. So at this point, I am asking this team to be 500 by the end of May. I think that's a lot to ask, to be honest with you. But that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm praying. That's what I got on my knees and prayed to the guy upstairs for before we did the show. So
I think one silver lining to everything, and it's obviously it's again, like I said, it's a tough injury and huge hit to the lineup. But compared to where the Cubs were at when Suzuki went out last year, as far as depth, as far as prospects who are ready or close to ready to impact a big league team, I think they're in a better place. Like the Canario's up, right? Canario was not close to being ready to impact the roster last year when Suzuki went down. PCA has already made his debut. They have guys like Owen Casey may not be that far away from potentially getting called up, right? So they have more guys, and that's on the pitching side too, more guys who should be ready to step up sooner rather than later when injuries or whatever do pop up. I think as far as that, the depth and like their top prospects being ready to or close to, like I said, ready or close to ready to impacting the big league team, I do think they're in a better place now to kind of handle this situation than than they were last year, obviously, when Seya was out to start the year.
It's 100% a spin zone. It's what both you guys were saying. Like, you don't want Seya Suzuki to be out, because at one point we were on this podcast saying this guy could be an MVP, right? Like, he's playing at that type of level. He was spectacular. But the spin zone is that this chat, and shout out to everybody in the live YouTube chat, post-game, pre-game, Cubs Twitter, I've seen it since spring training started. People wanting guys to get opportunities. We want to see the kids. Stop just playing the starters have all played great. And we've said, listen, if you want Canario on this team, who are you going to take off of there? You're not going to take Happ out. You're not going to take Talkman out right now. You're not going to take Bellinger out. You're not going to take Seya out. Well, baseball's got a funny way of giving you some answers. So you're going to find out what Canario is made of. And if he's not ready, by the way, Owen Casey's tearing it up. So the people that want to see Owen Casey might get their wish if this is longer than we think it's going to be for Seya Suzuki. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of good young outfielders. Some of them are close to major league level. I just want to see him play. I just don't want to see Canario come up and not play. I want to see him play 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Like, we've had Council already talk about, just with Morel and the defense thing at third, this season is about trying to win every game, but also trying to develop the future. Okay, well, baseball gods gave it to you. This isn't the way anybody wanted it to happen. But now you may have a month of Alexander Canario auditioning, whether it's for this team or whether it's for a bigger trade come deadline time. This is a big opportunity for the Cubs franchise. Didn't want it, but face reality. That's what it is. It's a showcase for Canario, whether it's on this team in the future or whether it's being a piece of a trade to another team to get you a starter or reliever, or whatever you might be missing later in the season.
Yeah. Alex Cohen, the broadcaster for the Iowa Cubs, tweeted after the news broke that Canario hit the first homer for the iCubs this year. And he's also hit the furthest homer for the iCubs this year. He's been on base in all but one game, second on the team in walks, leads the team in doubles, and has played well at all three outfield spots, according to him. In his opinion, I think, is what he's saying in regards to that last bit. So we all know he has the power, and we talked about how this team didn't have a lot of right-handed power. So, like, again, like, this is, like Luke just said, this is a showcase. Like, he could be increasing his trade value if he plays well, but at this point, you can't trade the guy. You got, like, especially if he plays well, because, like, we don't know how long Seya is going to be out. And then also Seya, as we saw last year, came back from the oblique injury, and it's not like he was great. Like, it took time for him to get back to, to get to where he got to in August. Like, this is the injury itself sucks, but the fact that it's an oblique again, like, yeah. Oh, just bury me into a freaking grave, brother. Like, this is the worst possibility, man. The worst outside of just being out for the entire year, right? But, like, the fact that it's an injury he's had before, the fact that this is, like, one of those lingering ones and all this, like, it is what it is. I'll stop complaining now. I'll save that for post-game. But, like, you get what I'm saying, though, man. Like, it is a scenario that, like, if Canario does play well for them, he is going to find himself getting a lot of time because they don't have a lot of other right-handed power outside of Morel.
But the Cubs are 9-6. All these injuries right now, the Cubs are 9-6. They go for their 10th win of the season today. You have to feel good about what happened in Seattle. Like, 7 of the first 9 series the Cubs play this year are against teams that most people predict will be in the postseason,
or at least
right now.
For it.
Yeah, right now they're 9-6, and I thought it was an incredible scene in Seattle after. Well, in general, the whole series was, but after that game, to see the Cubs players coming out of the dugout and to see behind that dugout, 20 rows up or more, nothing but W flags, nothing but Cubs fans. So for anybody that wants to say they're just fans, Cubs fans just go to chase tail at Wrigley Field. That's all it is, right? Cody likes to say that. Go chase tail at Wrigley Field. Go look at the fans. Go look at how many fans showed up in Seattle. What are they chasing there in Seattle?
Tail.
They're traveling. They went all the way across the country to go see the Cubs play out west.
And perhaps chase tail.
I hear there's a lot of sweet ass in Seattle.
It's still one of the dumbest tweets I've ever seen, man. Still one of the dumbest tweets I've ever seen.
That picture and that video to me eliminates that argument for anybody that wants to say, they don't pay attention to the game. They're just there to get drunk and party and nobody's paying attention. What happened when they outnumber the home team on the road? What's your answer for that? So I thought that was unbelievable. Now, there was some sad news today. We had Kenny Holtzman, who pitched for the Cubs in two different scenarios, two different trips with the Cubs. First time was 7 years with the Cubs. He passed away at the age of 78. The Cubs saying we are deeply saddened by the passing of former Cubs pitcher Ken Holtzman, a Cub from 65 to 71 and then 78 to 79, posting a 3.76 ERA in 237 games, 2 no-hitters with the Cubs, cementing himself as one of the best left-handed pitchers in Cubs history. Their condolences to Ken's family during this tough time. I mean, the 1969 no-hitter against the Braves, while I wasn't alive for it, I know, it is the last no-hitter in baseball to be thrown with 0 strikeouts. He didn't strike out a single guy. Wow. And he is, I didn't realize this, he is the winningest Jewish pitcher in Major League Baseball history. 174 wins. Sandy Koufax had 165. I saw Fergie Jenkins saying, how is he not in the Hall of Fame? His numbers, while you may not want to say head-to-head, he's Sandy Koufax, he was a great pitcher. He won 3 straight titles when he went to the A's for a stretch there with Oakland, and more wins than Sandy Koufax.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's
and two no-hitters.
Yeah.
I've never heard Ken Holtzman mentioned necessarily as a Hall of Famer, but those numbers are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's obviously a great pitcher in Cubs history. Yeah, 2 no-hitters. Did those come the first stint or the second stint?
It was 69 and 71, I believe.
Okay, so the first
stint.
It
was his first stint. And I was trying to think about it when I read that. What other Cubs is Jake Arrieta the only other one with 2?
Probably. Maybe.
I mean, that's a beer money question. That should be a beer money question right there.
Beer money question.
Right? It's not any other modern. It's not Greg Maddux in a Cubs uniform. It's not Sutcliffe in a Cubs uniform. It's not Zambrano. It might only be Jake Arrieta.
Yeah.
In a Cubs uniform, yeah.
In a Cubs uniform.
Possibly.
We need our own Chris Kamka to go look that up.
Maybe I'll tweet at him and see if he can. Yeah. Well, he's probably got it for the broadcast already, let's be honest.
It's one of those, when you did like the Scott Rowland comparison with like Aramis Ramirez, was that last year or the year before?
Yeah, when Rowland got into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like he does, like, you don't look at him and you don't think of the guy and say like, oh yeah, Hall of Famer for sure. But then you look at numbers compared to other Hall of Famers, compared to especially like contemporary guys, or like his contemporary era, whatever, however you say that.
Yeah.
And they match up with guys that did go in the Hall of Fame. Then you're like, oh, maybe this guy does have a case, and it's weird that he's not talked about more in that, you know? Yeah.
Should at least be recognized. Again, I'm not saying he was on the same plane as Sandy Koufax, but he had more wins than Sandy Koufax. That's pretty impressive. And listen,
back in the day when wins mattered.
Yep.
And a no-hitter is a no-hitter. I don't care if he had no strikeouts. I don't care if he had 15 strikeouts. A no-hitter is always impressive. You know what else is always impressive? And by the way, we're going to get to our Who You Got picks in just a little bit. Cody and Braggs, who's running the 1s and 2s for us from his garage tonight. They have the big Friday 120 Club coming up. Another episode number 2, Friday 120 Club. Now, what do you have to do?
Second edition.
Yeah, second edition. What do you have to do? By the way, I'm locked in. 5-3 Milwaukee, Friday 120 Club. That's going to be my inaugural for me, Friday 120 Club. But there's one coming up this weekend against Miami. What do? Buy your own bleacher ticket and then show up to Murphy's in the morning, and they'll have a little meet, hangout, pregame, festivities over at Murphy's. And then after the game, everybody's going to Almost Home. You walk over to Wrigley in between, and you sit in the bleachers together. There's the picture from the very first ever Friday 120 Club. And you probably still have time, at least for the May 3rd one, to go buy that Friday 120 Club shirt. I think I saw Mike Dubbs saying in Twitter that it came and it's glorious.
Yeah, Mike
arrived in his mail and it's glorious.
He tweeted at us, said that he got it. He said it is glorious, like you said. Yeah. And me and Braggs can attest. I'm not just saying this to say it, but there were a lot of people that were giving us compliments on the shirt at the ballpark. And so I brought the CHGO stickers that we have in the office, and I was like, here, you got to go check us out. And that's where you can get the shirt. So hope to see more of those down the road. But we had a good group out there for the first one. So I'm hoping that we, add more people to that group this Friday. We sat in 504. I assume we'll probably be in the same area again. Try and get down there as close to the wall as we can. And again, we had a great time. Emma and Sarah are coming as well. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot weather. Yeah, well, and we thought we were going to get cold weather for the first one, and it was beautiful. It was nice.
Fair. The sun did come out.
And obviously today it's like 80 degrees. It's not going to be 80 on Friday, but if the sun's out, you know how it is. You'll be tan by the time you get home. So I'm excited for it. And yeah, we're just going to keep building this community as 14 Fridays. We got one down. We're 1-0. So we're going for 2-0 this Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you come out, get your shirt, come on out. Yeah, and if you get a bleacher ticket, obviously you can sit with us, but you can hang out with us at Murphy's and Almost Home, even if you don't necessarily have a bleacher ticket. But we encourage everyone to sit in the bleachers with us, because if you catch a home run, you get a free shirt from me for sure. That's on the news. Table. Yeah, that's on the table for sure. So the other thing I want to task people with, and maybe we can save this for the post game or for the weekly show, some of your off day shows here coming up, but I need some ideas. We did a couple signs here for the first game. Yeah. We want to keep the signs going for each Friday 120 Club. So whoever comes up with the best idea,
this one's got to be for Tim Anderson.
Yeah, if we had Tim Anderson, whatever's clever, as I like to say. But I want to hear some good ideas from the chat. But
we would get absolutely shelled online if we did something for Tim.
That's what we're working. That's what we're for, Cody.
Probably the focus.
Me and you ended up on baseball Reddit that first Friday, and Dodger fans were not happy with us.
Yes.
What if you did? Instead of a Sean-O-meter, National League Rookie of the Year voting, and you could have Canario, you could have Busch. You could have
like that
Ben Brown.
Okay. All right. See, we got ideas floating around, because I need to make these, because my daughter is 5 and she likes to help me color these. So help me come up with some good sign ideas.
You could say like Tim Anderson's the 4th best shortstop in Chicago right now or whatever, because he will be in Chicago. Now you're speaking
my language, Ryan.
Yeah, something like that.
That's when we used to get.
Is he playing shortstop for the Marlins? Yeah, I assume he is. Yeah, because Arias.
I would think so, right? Yeah.
I know, like the moment Emma or Sarah tweet a picture of me or Braggs holding a sign related to Tim Anderson, my God, Sox Twitter will come after us.
Will they? They will. They will.
I mean, that guy is still beloved to them. That's all they have. That's all they've had in the last 5 years.
We got Tommy Pham.
I just know that so. But I mean, it's a good idea.
It is a good idea. Braggs, do you have today's lineup for the Cubs against Merrill Kelly, who, by the way, has been awesome for them? 2-0 with a 2.29. Cubs going with Happ, Swanson, Bellinger, Morel, Busch, Cooper, Horner, Tauchman, Amaya. Man, Mike, I don't know what else you can say about Michael Busch. I know.
Been great.
I know we need to go back and add up a bunch of who he got, but I can tell you I won yesterday. I took Busch.
Yeah, I won Saturday.
What is it tonight? Tonight he goes for 5 straight games with a home run?
5 straight games with a home run, which would tie the franchise record. Morel last year, I think it was Sammy in 98, Sandberg in 89, and Hack Wilson in like 28, something like that.
Sandberg had to be like 83 or 84.
I think it was 89. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway,
my head's foggy. I couldn't tell you.
So four guys hold the franchise record. Michael Busch could. tie that record today. And I wrote in my newsletter this morning, like just asking the question, like he's clearly the present of the Cubs first base.
Yeah.
At first base right now. Is he the future? It is obviously very early in his Cubs career, but the signs that he's showing 15 games into the season, like, he's looking pretty good. He is looking pretty good. He's got a WRC plus higher than Shohei Ohtani right now, tied with Yordan Alvarez. So, like, it's pretty good to start the year for him.
Yeah.
Sean is saying Sandberg's big home run season was 90, but he wasn't a rookie in 90. We're talking about, right? We're talking about 5 straight home runs for rookie. Is that what it?
Oh, no.
Or you're just talking about 5 straight home runs
in franchise history.
Oh, okay. Totally different. Yeah. You're probably right about that. I thought you were saying rookie seasons for each guy. I'm like, all those guys hit 4 home runs in a row in a rookie season. Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd be surprised if anyone has 4 in a row as a Cubs rookie.
He's just giving good at bats right now, man. So, like, ride this wave while you still can. I say that just as everyone, not random people in general, but like, he's the reason they won the series, in all honesty. I know you need pitching to win, but, like, he was the offense. Him and Seya were the offense in Seattle. So, keep her going. And I liked how Corey and Brendan put it yesterday. Like, he hits moonshots, hit like Seya, who we're talking about. He hits a lot of laser homers, like nukes, but all of Busch's homers look like moonshots. They're real high arcing. I enjoy that. They're a lot more majestic to watch. So yeah, man, he hits the ball hard.
Because we can't pick a pitcher for who you got, what do you expect out of Ben Brown tonight? Like, since that second inning in Texas, it's 8 2/3 innings, 1 run, and 10 strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
He was great, but here's another test tonight.
Another test.
Well, he did pretty well against that Padres lineup, but now there's a little bit more tape on him, so I don't expect it to. I mean, I'm just not going to ever expect it to always to be as that easy. I mean, he made it look easy, but it also helped that the Cubs scored runs for him, so
gave him some room.
I think if the Cubs can score early tonight, perhaps like he could do what he did in San Diego. But yeah, it's a tough ask, especially like as we noticed in September of last year. Like, that's a friendly ballpark for hitters. It's big
and a good lineup,
and they have a good lineup. Yeah, so
good lineup. We've got PTSD after that team last year.
You're right. You're right.
I mean,
you're right.
Corbin Carroll, please. I don't ever want to see him again. We're going to get a lot of them. Old friend Jock
Gabriel Moreno, he was great against us last year.
Didn't Gurriel do pretty well?
Yeah,
in those series too.
Right.
I'm sure they pretty much all did pretty well. But
it's basically the same lineup except with Jock Peterson and Eugenio Suarez.
Eugenio Suarez. Yeah, Alex Thomas is out too.
At least people who stay up to watch the game get to hear Pat Hughes say his name.
Yeah, Sean Caselli actually makes a good point. He says we'll be fine. Cody isn't there.
So, good point. Good point.
That's a plus for the Cubs in Arizona on the road.
Credit to Sean for pointing it out. Yeah. Credit to me for staying home.
And we're staying home not because we're lazy, not because it's a West Coast game. It's because the Sky had a big draft party.
Oh yeah,
there wasn't enough room in the studio for us tonight, so we said, all right, if you're going to force us to stay home for a West Coast game,
fine.
We'll take one for the team. We'll take one for the company.
Same thing tomorrow too. So
tomorrow too. A lot of stuff going on.
They said,
we were actually ready to go knock down the doors, giving like the let us in. Yeah, Eric Andre the meme where he's like, "Let me in."
Or that Big Bird gif where the Big Bird just like busts down the door.
Oh yeah.
Are you guys old enough to have ever seen a Kool-Aid commercial?
Yes.
Where the Kool-Aid runs through the brick wall?
Yeah, no, the Kool-Aid. Everyone, we know that.
Well, I mean, they don't run them anymore.
How young do you think we are?
Young. Who you got? Let's see. Who you got? Ryan took Busch, bold. I took Dansby, who's going to be batting, what I see, second tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, second in the order. Cody's trying to spark a Bellinger run here. And not surprising, Brendan took Nico and Corey. This is what I was going to do this, but I wanted to go Dansby. Corey going with the Coop Troop.
Coop Troop.
Troop. So we'll see if that pulls through. Braggs, do you have anybody you want to throw your name down on before the show ends? It's not going to count for anything.
Oh, I see. Doesn't count when I say things.
If you want it to count in your, you could put it like a mark on the garage door or on the wall in the garage somewhere over there.
Yeah.
You can put a date on this date. I was in Who You Got.
Yeah, on this date. Well, I can't do my Ohtani bit anymore. He can rot in hell. But let me see. I don't know. Does anybody got Morel? Nope. I'll probably roll with Morel.
Nobody's got Morel.
With Morel.
He's due for a good game.
Hoping he busts out of a 4-game slump now. 3
games. Michael Evans in the chat taking Hap.
Yep.
I know Gary took Amaya earlier.
Yeah, Gary took Amaya. Gary's been taking all the catchers. Like when Gomes starts, he's been taking Gomes.
Yeah.
Now he's taking Amaya.
He's got the fave in the catchers.
Yeah.
Bragg's keeping the bugs out of the garage. You might have to put a screen up if we do this in the middle of the summer. You might need a little mesh.
I got one of those mesh things for the door, but bring on the bugs. Bring on the summer, baby.
Just bring on the cicadas. They're
yeah. You can't do this with the cicadas in Indiana. Come on. You're going to be smothered by them. You're going to be shoveling them out of that garage in like a week or two. I just hope we see you again. You might not make that May 3rd Friday 120 Club if you get swallowed up by a swarm of cicadas.
If I can deal with the plague that is Mark Carmen, I can deal with flying locusts or cicadas or anything else.
Credit to you.
Credit to you.
You don't know. All right. We'll be back here for a full hour after the game. Braggs, I believe, will be running the 1s and 2s, and we'll see how our Who You Got picks work out. We'll see if the Cubs can get another one going on the road, their 10th win of the season. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs Pregame Show podcast. See you back here after the game. Until then, thanks for watching and fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.